welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. I'm your host, Lisa, and you are here for another edition of Chesapeake Chats, Season 4, y'all. I cannot believe it's finally here. I am joined by my lovely co-host, Kaycee.
Hi, everybody. I'm super excited to be here once again, talking about Chesapeake Shores. And guess what? I liked yesterday's episode.
Oh my gosh, stop it. So did I. I mean, I think I was just really excited to see everybody again.
Yeah, it was like a little reunion. You know, we haven't seen them in a while. We're getting back together, getting to figure out, what's been going on with everybody's lives since the last time we saw them. It's like a little family reunion.
It really was. And it was like, this show for me signals like the end of summer, which is kind of sad, like for summer to end, but also like, new school year for the kids, fall's coming, which being on the East Coast, fall's amazing because we actually have a fall. Coming from Texas where we didn't have fall, we just had hot and then like a couple weeks of winter. Like, so this show always signals like, okay, fall weather's coming and football season and being outdoors and pumpkins. I just get really excited. And so, yeah, I might have gotten a little choked up when the music, like the show music came on, the intro music. I was very excited. I know. Okay.
It is a very fallish show. I don't know if maybe the scenery, they all look cozy in their giant over sweater things. And I'm over here in Florida sweating and it's, November,
Yeah. I know. Now that I live up here on the East Coast, I actually have a reason to wear sweaters and like scarves and wraps and stuff. It's pretty nice.
I'm really jealous. I pull out the boots when it's like 70 degrees.
Right? Okay, that's funny. So this first episode, you're right. It was like a little mini reunion. They kind of did a little recap at the beginning, and then we got to see where everybody is. And I'm not quite sure how much time has passed because there was some comments throughout the show about various time passages, and they kind of seemed off, but it's neither here nor there. But the episode title is "The End is Where We Begin," which can mean so many different things. And I mean, this could be about Trace and Abby. This could be about Mick and Megan. This could be about Connor or Jess and David. There's so many possibilities.
Yeah. They're all kind of closing a segment in their lives, it seems.
Right?
Like, what's his face? Connor, he finished law school. Now that was the end. Now he's beginning something. Abby and Trace, we don't even know. Just, different. I don't know. The end is the beginning.
I like to play title assumptions with these because usually I try not to read this series, like the episode summaries, but I did this year. I cheated. But I still like to play title assumption and try and figure out what it means. And this could mean so many things. But anyways, okay. So season 1 opens up with my favorite thing ever. All the O'Briens together, just them, which, I mean, I know it didn't start out that way. It started out with Kevin jumping into Abby's room with some ice cream and asking, hypothetically, how one would like to be proposed to. But then it was so amazing that Jess comes in with a spoon. Side note, with her shoes on the bed, which irritated me. I'm like, don't wear your shoes in bed. But anyways, and then Bree, and then I thought, okay, is Connor going to show up? And then he did. I really loved it. What about you? Did you like that?
Oh, I always loved the O'Brien sibling scenes. And then this one made me laugh because I was like, did they all just know to bring a spoon? Like you hear someone's voice in Abby's room and you're like, oh, got to bring a spoon. They got ice cream. I mean, yeah. Is that
if I lived in the house, I'd probably just put one in my pocket and just have it the whole time.
Yeah, I'd probably, if I were Abby, I'd just have like a whole case of them in my, dresser drawer.
It was kind of weird though, because that whole time, not one of the kids was like ice cream and came running in. I mean, my kids have like sonar, like anytime sugar is open, they're, oh, what, who, where, can I have some? And they're like right there. And no kids.
I mean, they were super distracted from, oh, you're talking about Abby's kids.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the O'Brien kids. Bad.
No, like my kids, if
Yeah.
there's any sort of sugar that's open, they're like, be like,
Oh
where's the
yeah,
sugar? I smell it. I know
that's
it's here.
true.
And you're just
My
like,
kids
oh.
hear the freezer drawer open and it's like ice cream.
Right. And not one of those kids came in there to scope it out. They were just like, whatever. We never saw him the whole episode, but whatever. Um, but yeah, so Kevin says, hypothetically, how would you want to be proposed to? And they all give their little scenarios, except for Bree was like, it's just about the feelings. Bree.
Yes. She's such a writer.
She really is. And then Connor's like, what? What are y'all talking about?
Yeah, and Connor is such a dude.
But okay, have you told your proposal story? Do you have a good one? Have you told it on our podcast
Oh,
yet?
you know what? I don't think so.
Is it a good one?
I mean, I think it's decent. I think he did a good job.
Do you feel like sharing, or
Yeah,
is
I can
it
share.
personal?
No,
Okay,
I can
yes.
share.
Yes.
So I told my now husband way back when I was, young, little, naive baby Kaycee, I had stipulations for getting engaged. So, and if you listen to one of the episodes, I think it's the June weddings episode, I tell
Mm-hmm.
a little bit about, our wedding and stuff, and how I'm like super extra. And so again, extra. I basically told him that I wanted it to be a surprise. I like, puzzles and figuring things out, and like had to be romantic or something ridiculous. Yeah. So basically he said we lived apart because we went to college together and we went back home. So that summer that we got engaged, he sent me a package and told me that I couldn't open the package until I had a bad day at work.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, what the heck? So I was a good girlfriend and I did not open the package. I actually pestered him like every single day for 2 weeks. And I know, right? And finally I just stuck it in my closet because I was like, I'm never going to open this stupid thing. Whatever.
You are joking.
No, I'm dead serious.
Gosh, you have such self-control. I had to rip that open as soon as it was there.
Yeah. Well, see, I had done that before, like when we first were dating, and it was kind of a topic of contention because, like, he really wanted me to be surprised. Like,
Gotcha.
We wanted to be on like Skype and just like talk and whatever, since we were apart. And so I knew from that time, like 3 years later, I was like, okay, I'm not opening this package until he says I can.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
So finally, one random day I had a bad day at work, but I kind of had forgotten about the package. And he was like, oh, hey, how's it going? I was like, oh, today was terrible. And he was like, oh, want to open that package? And I was like, yes. I think by this point it had been like 2 weeks. So I opened the package and it had 3 wooden boxes inside, and they were labeled. And I was like, oh, okay. How ironic. It's, I think it was Tuesday, and it had Tuesday on it. And I was like, oh, let me open this. And it was a bunch of, it was a box of fake red rose petals, which was kind of like our first date, because he gave me a bunch of like rose petals. And inside the box it said the past. And I was like, oh, like reminiscing. Aww. Mind you, there are 3 boxes in here. The first one is the past. So the next day I opened the next box and it was a bunch of puzzle pieces. Later on, he told me, you said you liked puzzles, so here you go. And so I think there were like 20, it wasn't very much, but I had a hard time figuring out these dang puzzle pieces because it was homemade puzzle pieces, but like from the like Hobby Lobby, and he painted it and had a message on it, and the message said the present. So the first box was the past, the next box was the present.
This is getting cuter. Okay, yes.
And then the final box, he was like, okay, you have to bring it to work with you, but leave it in the car and then open it after work. And I'm like, okay. And so I went to work. This was a whole saga at work. Like I worked with a bunch of ladies ranging from 18 to like 65. And it was a whole like Hallmark saga about what was in the final box. And like these ladies are like, oh, there's gonna be a ring in there. And I'm like, there's not gonna be a ring in there. He shipped it USPS. Like,
Right.
no. And then somebody else said, he's gonna like pop up at your car. And I was like, okay, that would not be romantic, first of all. Second of all, no, he said he's busy and can't come down to Florida. And it was just like a whole thing. And so when it was time to clock out, my boss was like, you ladies better hope she gets engaged this weekend, because if she's really sad on Monday, it's all on you. I was like, there's a lot of pressure here.
Right.
So I ran to my car after work. They parted. It was funny. The time clock, usually everybody gathered around it, but this time they like parted it, kind of like Moses was parting the Red Sea. And I just walked through and scanned out, ran to my car, opened the tiny little box, and had $1 in it. And I was like, see, I told these people it was like money for coffee. You know, it's Friday, get yourself something good to drink. But then there was also a message in there. And then I realized it was $1, which there's a $1 toll to the beach. And so the message in the tiny little box with the dollars basically said, drive to the beach, which I did. And I made it there in record time. Didn't speed.
Oh my gosh.
And he was at the beach. And I was like, there's only one reason why you're here. And he goes,
front door. This is amazing.
Yeah. He goes, don't ruin the moment. And I was like, okay. Oh. So he proposed at the beach as the sun was setting in July, 8 years ago. So.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I have to know, did you cry?
I don't think I cried. I was kind of pretty shocked that he was there, and I was pretty giddy.
Yeah.
I might have teared up like a slight bit, but I was more giddy than anything.
Yeah.
Super excited. I did paint my nails just in case. And my friends did point that out. They're like, you don't think he's coming, but you painted your nails. I was like, girlfriend has to be ready, right?
Yeah.
You know, just in case.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's funny because in real life, I'm a very stoic, non-emotional person on the outside. And so whenever I see people get engaged, I'm like, what are you crying for? I mean, seriously? Okay. And then when it happened to me, yeah, I cried. I cried. I mean, not like big fat, like, you know, sobby tears, like, you know, Sense and Sensibility at the end when she's like, yeah. But I did. I cried and I was like, I guess this is like for real. And I wanted to say, are you sure? Like, seriously, are you sure? Because I'm a lot. But yeah, I was like, oh, and I was crying and I was like, I never thought I'd cry, but I did. Yeah. Well, I need that to be a Hallmark movie. Let's be honest. So any Hallmark writers out there or people that are trying to write for Hallmark, I need you to write that into a script because that would be awesome. You're right. It was a saga.
Yeah, it really was. You know what? If there are any Hallmark writers and you want to take that, let me know. I will give you the entire scoop. I mean, dialogue and everything. Also, let's just throw this out there. You need an Asian lead, okay? So this would be a great story for, I don't know, somebody Asian.
Cardi Wong?
Yeah, there you go.
Because I could see him doing that and putting boxes. Okay, they're done. Maybe we'll just make this into a Cardi Wong appreciation episode and just send him this idea.
Yeah.
Okay, but you know who's not engaged? Trace and Abby.
I was going to say none of the O'Briens.
I said it. Trace and Abby. I'm going to go ahead and start with those two because you and I both know we'll just... I'll just go ahead and say it and get them out of the way. I said it. Okay. So Trace, we see him come back and he's still scowling, which part of me just really wants him to be happy. But then later in the show, I got over that because they were back to fighting again. But I will say this, I'm glad that they are not showing him on tour this whole season. I was afraid that we were going to start and show him clips of him on tour, staring off into the distance, thinking about Abby and maybe kind of almost calling her on the cell phone, but then putting it away and being like, oh, I just don't know what to do. And so I'm glad that they're not doing all that. But I guess he and Abby didn't talk that entire time he was gone.
That is impressive. Yeah. I am not going to lie. For a girl who has dated someone for a long time and then she just cuts him out, and he didn't even do anything really all that bad. I mean, like, he didn't
Okay,
cheat
yeah.
on, well, like, he didn't cheat on her, he wasn't like abusive to her or anything, but she like cut him
I
out.
have so many thoughts about that here in a minute, but okay. So Trace, yes, and then he tries to go to Abby's house with flowers because apparently he keeps calling her and she's not picking up. But Mick answers the door and is like, "Hey, welcome back," but no, you can't come in, which was awesome. He was like, "No, she doesn't want to see you, but welcome back," which I thought was hilarious.
That reminded me of high school.
Right?
Oh my gosh, like,
It's like, nah.
it just reminds me of like a guy I knew, and he wanted to get this girl back, and he would like get her like things like that, and it was like, no, bro,
Yeah.
no, she's
Yeah.
not into you anymore.
Right. And then I guess Mick actually goes to confront Trace about it later because maybe he feels bad about shutting him down without letting Abby make that decision. And Trace declares, "I'm here to stay." And part of me was like, well, for now, like, I'm sorry, but he's always here to stay. But whatever.
Yeah, he said that the last
Um,
4 years.
yeah, and then later at some point in the show, we see him on the phone with John, and he's in front of the bridge, and he's like, "I'm done." And again, you're done now, but I guess his bandmates are like super cool with losing their jobs. They're just sure, okay, we're
Yeah,
just not going to tour anymore. We're not going to do this anymore. You're going home, and we're done.
yeah, and like when I realized he was talking to John, I was kind of like, you have already had a bad relationship with him, and then you
Right.
made good, and now you're teetering on thin ice right now. Like,
It's
are you trying to burn a bridge?
yeah. But his club is
I
called
don't
the
know.
Bridge. He's burning a bridge to stay at the bridge. But I'm here all week, people. Um, I know that was bad. What do you call it? But then okay, so moving on from because we'll talk about Trace and Abby, but let's hit on Abby real quick. I will say that the entire show, it was either her business possibilities, like I guess potentially being in trouble business wise, or people asking her, "How do you feel about Trace's back?" But I think honestly, the most important moment of the whole Abby storyline from this episode was David Lewis could be her new client. And he was there for like 5 seconds, and I needed more of David Lewis because I hope he's evil. And I hope he ends up fighting the family. And I hope it turns out to be this long, drawn out legal drama where they find out he's been running this whole scheme because he can be super intense. I mean, he's funny, but he can
Mhm.
be super intense. And I love it. And I love David Lewis. And so I need him to be on the show more.
Yeah, he definitely had those crazy business eyes. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, ooh.
Yes. I mean, he's funny. I love him when he's funny, like in the Hallmark movies. I love when he's funny. But man, that one, what was it, Murder She Baked, when he was the actual killer? Sorry, spoiler alert if you hadn't seen that one. He was intense.
No.
I liked it. I'm sorry, you hadn't seen that one, have you?
I did not see that one.
Oh, I ruined it. I'm
It's
sorry.
okay.
I'm sorry.
I'll probably forget, to be honest with you, by the
Okay.
time I get around to watching it. So,
But yeah, that was the most important part of Abby's storyline was David Lewis. But
mhm.
I mean, that's really all that happened to her on this episode. Yeah, everybody just kept asking, "How do you feel about Trace being back?" I'm
Yeah,
fine. I'm good with it.
yeah, she's guarded and she's moved on. So,
Where's Douglas
uh,
when you need him?
I was going to
But
say, bring on Douglas.
so as far as Trace and Abby go, they're not together, but they're still arguing about not being together. And this is where I have feelings. Okay, because at the end, when Connor tells Trace, "You haven't seen Abby? Well, are you still into running? Because maybe if you went to this certain spot at 7 a.m., you could start running again, AKA that's where Abby is." And so he shows up and he pretends like he doesn't see her, which is amazing. And she's like, "Trace," he's like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" That was awesome. And she tells him, "I can't go back."
Mm-hmm.
Uh, go back to what? a nice guy who bent over backwards to keep his career and his relationship. I mean, he cut tour dates. He came home between tour dates. He took her on tour with him. He spent time with her kids. He even picked up her kids before school and took them to the bridge to help out. Like, what more do you want from a relationship?
I forgot about all of that.
Right? You want to go back to the super nice guy that just has a kind of different career that you knew about before you started a relationship with him because it was so terrible. Like, he's legit bent over backwards to try and
Yeah.
make it work. And she was like, nah, that's not good enough.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't have much to say because I'm really not all that invested in their relationship anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, okay, more power to you.
That's what I wanted to be throughout the show. And I just was kind of like, sure, whatever. I mean, their scenes happened and it, okay. But at the end, when she says, I just can't go back, I lost it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't blame you. But I don't blame her either. I mean, if that's not what she wanted in a relationship, I guess, well, go get you a Douglas, right?
Right. But and I agree with her when she says, I don't think we should pursue this, or I don't think I can do this, and I don't think you should want to either. Done. That's the best thing you've ever said, Abby.
Yeah, it's true.
Put it on a shirt and I'll wear it every Sunday.
You know, now I'm kind of like, okay, bring on some new people because I want to see this. I want to see the longing looks. I want to fall in love with Abby and Trace again.
Right.
Like, let's
first season, Abby and Trace.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Yeah.
So speaking of, let's talk about Erin. This
new girl. Erin or Emma?
Is it Erin? Emma. You're right, Emma. Why did I write Erin? I wrote Erin in my notes. You're right. It's Emma. I'm a dum-dum. But we first see her as a random girl singing outside on a rock or some sort of bench or something outside on the bridge. And the Waffle King comes out and says, get back to work. I was like, yes, the Waffle King is back. Episode 1, you know it's going to be a good season when you see him right away. But he tells her to get back to work. And then later in the episode, Trace comes into the bridge and she's behind the bar working, and they introduce each other, themselves to each other. And he says, you're a good singer. And this woman says, well, I don't sing for people.
But you sit outside in public and sing
exactly
where people can hear you.
Except you bring your guitar all the way to work and take it outside on your breaks and sing out loud outside. But sure.
It makes 100% sense.
She's like, I don't sing in front of people. And then he says, well, maybe you could sing this song. And he pulls out the song sheet that she left when the Waffle King yelled at her. And she grabs it and says, I doubt it. I don't sing for people. Okay, well, maybe we'll just all go outside while you're on your break.
Yeah. But we all know now that she's going to sing for people at the bridge.
True. And this is the big, he kind of gave her a little look like, oh, she intrigues me. So this is it. This is what's happening.
Yeah.
Trace and, I'm just going to call her Erin. No, I'm just kidding. Trace and Emma. What would be their trema?
Trema?
Emaciated. Done. Team emaciated.
Well, we can work on that one.
Yeah, we'll come back to that. So we'll see what happens there. I think that's what they're leading. That's what they're leading us to, is that maybe there'll be a little flirtation there. We'll see. There wasn't much to go on other than her saying, I don't like to sing in front of people. But
yeah.
So also in couple world, one of our favorites, Jess and David, they were apart at the beginning of the episode, and Kevin decides to take Jess back to the Tanglewood Inn and take Sarah along for a weekend at the inn, but he's dropping off Jess, and David reunite, which is so cute.
Very sweet. I was a little sad we didn't get to see more of Jess and David together, but I'm very hopeful that in future episodes we will see a lot a lot of Jess and David, because
Yeah.
this episode they seem to be like ships passing in the night. Like, ooh, hey, okay, bye.
Yeah, I
I
was
mean, they're
kind
so
of
busy. I felt bad for them.
yeah, and I was kind of worried that it was going to be another drawn out not talking to each other thing like they've had in the past seasons when they were afraid to really commit to their relationship. But
Hmm.
I like that it was solved immediately, and basically what it comes down to is they were both miserable at the inn, but the Tanglewood Inn that David's parents bought, and they were afraid to tell one another because they thought the other person was super happy and super into it. But they both actually end up talking to Kevin, and Kevin says, y'all should really talk to each other. So they do, and they finally confess, and they decide, let's go back to Chesapeake Shores and try and rebuild the B&B. Sure.
Yeah,
So yeah, I feel like if that's going to be a season long story of them rebuilding the B&B, that'll be fun. I think even when they argue, it's in a fun
it's
way.
cute.
Yeah, it's not mean spirited. They don't argue and like fight and like, ugh, I
Yeah,
don't even want to look at you. They just really cute argue. So I think that would be a fun storyline, them trying to get the B&B back up.
yeah. And it's super fun because Jess is super crazy and David is
Yes.
very chill. So they balance each other out that way. And I think it'll be fun seeing them rebuild the inn where it
Yes.
all began for these two lovebirds.
I know. Well, if you cut out the Brie part at the beginning, but
Oh, yeah.
we won't get into that. We did that last
But
episode.
we love Jess and David now.
Then there's Connor. We see him, his first scene back in episode 1 is he and Danielle have met up, and basically she comes out and says, hey, I'm going to be up for partner, while she's getting into her brand new luxury convertible fancy car. And Connor looks at it longingly. He looks at it like longingly more than he does look at Danielle.
Yeah, see, this is what I'm saying. I mean, like, okay, they are cute together, but this is what I'm saying. They are when you're 45 and I'm 45 and we're still single, we're going to marry each other.
They're so
Like,
good as friends.
they are so good as friends. Even flirty friends. They're really good. Like, they've got that really good chemistry.
Yeah.
But I need them to be single and just be like flirty.
Yeah.
They're fun.
Well, and it feels like this whole storyline for Danielle is to set up a conflict with Connor that maybe he wants to go back to corporate life. Like maybe is he
Hmm.
jealous or is he rethinking career moves? Because later when he and Danielle and some random dude are at the bridge discussing lawyerly things, that you can see that he's second guessing, and then when he's at his job trying to fight for, I'm not entirely sure what it is he's actually fighting for, the other side, the corporate side that he's going against, she kind of makes a hint like, well, if you were free, I would hire you or something. And I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting because he spent a portion of one of the past season, what is it, season 2 or season 3,
Hmm.
hating corporate life. And that was a whole drawn out thing of whether he should leave and go out on his own. And
Right, and work for his uncle.
yeah, and I guess now, I don't know, fancy cars will change that.
It's true. I mean, I will say it is frustrating and it's kind of almost disappointing when you're with, so, you and your friends go to college together, you graduate, and then you do the same thing. And one is like, so quote unquote super successful. And then you're just like, over here living in a box,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh man, what if I did this instead? Then I could be here and I could be a lawyer instead of, whatever. I don't know, maybe it's that kind of thing he's going through.
Right.
He just isn't satisfied, is what I've
Yeah.
noticed. He's never satisfied where he's at.
Maybe he's a grass is always greener, and then he gets over there and he's like, oh, well, okay. But, I kind of went through some of that. My former career was as an athletic trainer, and, it ended up not really being for me, but I still have friends that are in the profession and they're doing very well. And a lot of them have elevated to positions within our professional organizations,
Mm-hmm.
um, elevated to the point where they masters and doctorates and stuff. And I could have followed that track and I could have been right there with them. But, in the end, it wasn't for me. But yeah, it's you see people and you see people at reunions and you see people even on Facebook groups and you see their success and their career trajectory. And it's kind of like, oh, well, that maybe could have been me.
Yeah.
It's a weird dichotomy to be faced with. I mean, I really enjoy what I do now. I have a lot more time with my family, but yeah, it's a strange thing. So I can see that.
Hmm.
It's just I think it's going to be interesting if he has to struggle with that again because he's went one way, and yeah, maybe it was a grass isn't as green as he
Yeah.
thought it would be. But so
I
we'll
don't
see.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah. I kind of wonder if he's just gonna up and quit.
right. I
Like
mean, maybe he'll make his own. I mean, because he's working for his uncle. Maybe wonder if maybe he'll set up his own
his own
firm.
practice.
Yeah.
He and Danielle can run it together.
She won't give up that car. She'll
Oh,
get
that's
partnership.
true. That's true. She's making the good money.
But see, like now, okay, so Mick and Abby have potential legal troubles ahead of them. Maybe he separates from Thomas to set up his own firm so he can help his family.
It's true.
We'll see how that goes. So,
Mm.
I was going to say, speaking of Mick, but I think because I want to talk about Mick and then Megan, then Mick and Megan. But so, real quick, Bree. Apparently, her book is doing very well. It's on a bestseller list, but she's also got a new play that she's looking for. I'm confused because throughout the episode, she had people coming in who I thought were producers, but then at the end, a woman named Hannah comes in and she's a
Hmm.
director and she's going to direct the play. So I guess maybe she's looking for both a producer and a director for her play.
Yeah, I thought someone to buy the rights to the play to make it a thing.
Yeah. I was kind of confused about what exactly it was that she was interviewing people for because
Hmm.
that one that one really fluffy dude came in and she's like, I don't trust him. So I don't know. And then the last woman, her name Hannah, and I didn't catch her last name, came in and she says, well, now I'm with some sort of organization and I want your play. I want to direct it. Which of course Breathe lit up and they start talking about it and they hit it off and they both recognize the challenges of the play. And
Hmm.
that's when you kind of realize, well, not at that moment, but between Bree talking to Megan, that it's about her and Simon.
Okay, that one surprised me because I was like, the last time you wrote something about people you knew, it blew up in your
Didn't
face.
you learn your lesson? I guess not.
Also, you and Simon aren't really a thing. So, what is this play about? Like,
Right.
subtle hints to Simon saying you do or do not want to be a thing.
Right. Because do you think? Because I'm guessing he doesn't know yet that he's the subject of this play, or maybe he does. I don't know. They haven't really.
They
I
didn't
saw the
really go
preview.
there.
Yeah, I saw the preview for next episode, and
Hmm.
he's in the audience. But is he really aware that he's the subject of the play? And that's going to be interesting to find out how he feels about that. And I mean, I feel like maybe he would understand more than her family only because he's also a writer who also pulled real life experiences into his book
Hmm.
with the whole Carolina thing, whatever. And, but
Yeah.
still, like, okay, this is me asking you for real. Would you be mad if somebody wrote about like you or your family? Like if they use different
Ooh.
names?
Um, I guess it really would depend on which story they
I
go
know, right?
with.
Which skeleton in the closet they pulled out to.
Yeah, which one? Because
If
it's
they
like,
wrote about all the
okay.
murders, then yes, I'd be mad.
Yeah, it's like if it's like about this certain family that we're connected to, but it's really more about that family. Yeah, by all means, this is good juicy stuff. But then
Right.
it's like if it's about me.
Yeah. If it's like about my dad and maybe they
No.
found out like some secret life that he had, yeah, I'd probably
Yeah.
be like, I don't know. I want to feel like I want to say that I'd be like super open minded and it's all in sacrifice to the arts and stuff. But in the
Hmm.
end, yeah, I think it really depends on what storyline they're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I guess you won't know. Somebody out there write a book about my family and bring it to me and I'll tell you how I feel. No, just real quick. I'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting next episode to
Yeah.
see
I,
Simon back.
I feel like Simon would be pretty cool with it. He's kind of the type of guy, not that he has an ego, but he's kind of the type of guy that likes attention, I think.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't think about it
Hmm.
that way. That's a good point.
Like he's very suave and debonair,
Yeah,
and he's not super riled up very easily.
right.
Like he wouldn't blow up in her face like what's his name from season 1?
Oh, her boyfriend from Chicago? Martin?
Yes, Martin, yes. Like Martin was totally ego
Right.
inflated, but in a very negative way. Whereas Simon, I think it's more like oh, well then. That's what you think. Okay.
Right. Ooh. Yeah, he's got such good hair, which I know has 0 point to any of the storyline, but he really has good hair. So,
Mm.
yeah, we'll see what happens there. I'm excited to find out. I like them together, but I don't know. They just need to make up their minds.
Yeah, they're pretty flighty.
I'm like, Brie, I was going to say Brie needs somebody like Stephanie needs somebody on Good Witch, but I know you don't watch Good Witch all that much, so never mind. All you goodies out there, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so Mick apparently is
Yes.
having some legal troubles. This guy's always in with between land trusts and brothers coming out of the woodwork and yachts being given to him in wills and testaments. He's always got something going on. So apparently there's
Hashtag rich people problems.
we should put that on a
Okay,
shirt.
proceed.
We should get a picture of him and put on the front and underneath put hashtag rich people problems. That'd be awesome. Okay. So apparently the company is called Dilfer Concrete, which the only reason I'm saying that is because I guess this guy always poured all of the foundations for all of Mick's developments. And so I guess they've always worked together. The gentleman that represented the company made it seem like they were partners, but Mick says, "Are you insinuating that I knew what you've been up to this whole time?" And the guy says, "Well, what are you talking about, Mick?" I mean, so I hope we find out what it is that this guy is supposed to have done, and it's not just this him and Hines situation throughout the whole season where we kind of don't know,
Mhm.
but just tell us what he may or may not have done. Because later in the show, Mick is on the phone with somebody, and it's very brief, but he's discussing legal ramifications about working with this guy. Could he be insinuated? I don't know. If they land trust us with this, I'm out.
Oh,
But if this ends up being something that turns into like Connor helping them, or I don't know, that could be interesting. We'll see.
yeah, the legal stuff, I'm always out. Like this time, I'm just like, okay, next. I don't know. It has to be. You know what? Give me something juicy and give me something dramatic,
Yeah,
and I'll be here for it. But currently, Mick, legal drama problems, meh.
yeah. I mean, he needs to. I was gonna say he needs to focus on Megan, but I'm still not on board with that. But
Mm.
speaking of Megan, at this point in the show, she has confronted Abby about no, she confronts Bree about the play. Is it about the family? She finds out it's not about the family, that it's about Simon. And Bree gives her the play to read. And I will say, side note, um, Barbara Niven in those black glasses was amazing, and I need her to wear
Oh
those
yeah,
more. She looked really good in those.
yeah.
I want to tweet her and say, "Can you find out where those glasses are? Because I need some. Thank you." But as far as Mick and Megan go, there was subtle hints that this could be a thing. I know that that's been teased already. Will they
Hmm.
or won't they try again? But there was some subtle hints that it may or may not be happening.
Yep. They were definitely co grandparenting at the beginning, sans the grandchildren.
Right.
But they were definitely, hmm, we shall see.
Yeah. They brought it back with the ice cream. They were like
Oh
Sundays
yeah.
on Sundays. And remember, they got this from us. And they're leading us down this path. And I'm not sure I'm ready to go down this path. I'm not sure I might try and turn the car around.
Mm.
But okay. I know there are a lot of people out there. I saw on Twitter that there's a few people out there that are super into this idea. Okay,
Yeah.
to each their
What's their ship name?
own. That's an excellent question.
Hashtag Eminem because Mick'em.
Mick'em. That's
Mega.
amazing. Megic.
Megic.
Well, because if you do Megan, which is, or Micken.
Megan?
This is
We'll
my
work on that one
favorite.
too.
Yeah, we'll have to come back. So we'll circle back. But so the final couple is I saved the best for last. Let's be honest. I saved the best for last, which is Kevin and Sarah. They are so delightful. They started out so rocky, and now here
I
we are,
know.
and they're one of my
So much
favorites.
growth between these people. So sweet. And I
Yeah,
mean, they legit were gigantic walking hard eye emojis
the
the
entire time.
entire episode.
Yeah,
I mean, it went from just like regular hard eyes to like hard eyes that were really big to hard eyes that were like just thumping back and forth. The eyes were just like boom, boom, boom. Like so much love.
Okay, so this is where I have to ask you: do you think Sarah knew the entire time?
She had to have known. She's a smart girl.
Right? I kept thinking that I kept thinking that she was going to actually propose to him. I thought at some point she was just going to grab the bull by the horns and be like, look, I know that because that's kind of her personality as well,
Yeah.
to not shy away from things. And I really thought because when she said Kevin, okay, I'm sorry, I'm skipping ahead. So they go to the inn for a weekend because he's going to propose, and Jess knows it, and she's been taking secret pictures of him all weekend, waiting for the moment. And Kevin tries to set up all these great activities. There's some sort of hike, which apparently everything goes wrong. Everything they've done has gone wrong. We finally see them at a picnic talking about their day that's gone wrong. And it's this gorgeous, elaborate under the tent setup, and everything's going great. And you think it's Kevin's about to do it, and then he drops a champagne glass or something. I couldn't really tell, but
Yeah, I think he knocked over the bottle.
yeah. And I'm thinking, why does that have to stop everything? Oh, sorry, this will be funny later. But I guess that's in Hallmark world that it's done. Nothing else can happen from here on out. So no proposal. And you think the next morning at brunch or breakfast or whatever that it's going to happen because they have some nice, they weren't mimosas because they were purple, but they looked delicious, and they are there, and you think it's going to happen, and no proposal. And then they're going home, and the Jeep gets a flat tire, and it's this gorgeous view. And Sarah says, hey, Kevin, come check this out. And I swear to you, I really thought she was going to get down on one knee and ask him to marry her.
That would have been epic. Didn't she ask him out to begin with? Like, didn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of thought that she was just going to be like, look, here's the deal. I love you, and I just want to spend the rest of my life with you. And I feel like I thought she was going to one-up him, but in the end, he did it right there on that little sunset scene. And
no, it was so stinking sweet.
yeah.
I love that it was very simple.
Yeah.
It wasn't, we didn't have all the giant twinkle lights and all the candles or, any of this la-di-da stuff. It was just a very sweet, realistic proposal. And it was just like, oh,
it was perfect.
So
and then I actually grew hard eyes. Like hard eyes actually popped out of my eyeballs because I was so into it. Like I was actually holding myself like, oh, it's happening.
I know. I was holding my face.
Yes.
I was like squeezing my cheeks together.
Yes.
Like the entire time squeeing. So I loved it.
I really did too. And it's perfection. The only thing I will say is I hope they don't dissolve into wedding planning for the whole season.
Yeah. That's true.
I mean, we're trying to get Rachel on the show, and if this turns into a wedding planning thing, she's out. How she feels about wedding planning. She hates it. So, listen, Hallmark, we need Rachel on the show a couple episodes, so don't turn this into a wedding planning thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Although I feel like with them, it wouldn't be Kevin and Sarah planning. It would be like Jess.
Yeah, you're right.
Or, Jess and
David,
Megan.
Yeah, and David could cook for them.
And yeah.
Jess could hold this the B&B. when it opens up again.
Yep.
Done.
And it would be a whole saga with them and Kevin and Sarah, just like heart eye emojis, like, oh, we don't care, whatever, just do what you want.
Yeah.
Because Sarah's been married before.
Right.
And so I feel like for her, she may not be as like, you know, frou-frou and bridezilla crazy about it. I feel like she would be like, I don't care. I'm going to get my dress. I got my man. Tell me the time and place.
And they're going to have all their like firefighter coworkers there with them.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm super excited. All right. So that's basically everybody except for, oh, I'm sorry. What was that? Where's Nell?
Dun, dun, dun.
Where is Nell?
It's like Carmen Sandiego. Where in the world is Nell?
I mean,
Nell O'Brien.
They didn't even have a picture of her in the background somewhere. She just wasn't even in this episode.
They didn't even mention her, did she?
I don't think so. I don't even think they mentioned her one time. And you would think that if Kevin were getting engaged, that they would have made sure that she knew, hey, Kevin's leaving because he's going to propose to Sarah. They told everybody else.
Maybe she was in the group. Maybe she was in the group chat.
Yeah, maybe she's in the group chat. She's sending heart eye emojis back. She's like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
But where was she?
You know what? I'm gonna stick with my theory. She's in Ireland with Dylan O'Malley, the leprechaun.
Maybe he put her under a curse. She can't leave. He used his leprechaun ways and cursed her, and now she's stuck in Ireland.
Exactly.
Yeah, but nobody even because normally when anybody leaves to go on some sort of trip, aka Kevin with Sarah and Jess, so she could leave to go back to the work at the inn, Nell would have been there handing them like a to-go bag of muffins and telling them something super sage. But no, she wasn't there. If this is going to be a regular thing and she's not there, then this is going to be a regular segment, and we'll have to get some like theme music for Where's Nell.
Yeah. We should. And I've got to think of more creative ideas than, being in Ireland with the leprechaun.
Okay, then every week we can just go ahead and speculate wildly where she is if she's not in the episode. We'll just come up with our own thing, and she can have her own storyline in our heads. So,
you know what? That would be amazing. That would be so much fun. I'm down for it.
Okay, never mind, Hallmark. Don't bring Nell on because this will be more fun.
I mean, she's still in the opening credits, so.
Yeah, I mean, we know she's there because we saw behind the scenes footage and we saw, Instagram and Twitter posts. It's just, neither her or the Abby's kids were in this episode, which was kind of like, oh, okay.
You know what? Maybe she took the kids with them.
That's true. They're all in Ireland together.
Yeah.
So that pretty much wraps up the episode. However, I do want to maybe have a final segment called Random Moments. Let's favorite random moments from the show that aren't necessarily plot lines, but you still either found entertaining or important or just something that stuck out at you that you were like, yes. So do you have any random moments?
Okay, let's see here.
Because I only have one.
I have a couple. Hopefully I'm not going to steal your one.
Well, that's okay. I'll fight you for it.
So the first one, both of them are with Kevin and Sarah.
Yes.
The first one is when Kevin tells her, he says, I love you. And then she doesn't say anything. And he's like, you're supposed to say it back. And then they do that again at the end. At this time, Sarah says it. And then she's like, you're supposed to say I love you back. And it was just very sweet. I like how they do the little,
cute.
Circular storyline thing there. Really sweet. And then the other thing is the whole you got me a rose. That legit made me laugh out loud. I wrote it. I did write it in my notes just because, what's his name? Oh my goodness. Brendan Kennedy.
Yes.
Is so good at making fun of Jess.
Yes.
And it was funny. Such a cute moment.
You got me a rose. Yeah, I died laughing. That was hilarious. Okay, so actually I have two. I thought I had one, but I have two. And they both involve Brie. So yeah, we didn't steal each other's, which is good. So my first one is when that director woman Hannah comes into wordplay, and Bree and Abby are standing there talking. But there's two Brees because apparently in her own store, Bree has a life-size cardboard cutout of herself and a life-size cardboard cutout of Simon, which is so random and so wonderful. And if that were me and I worked at Wordplay, which I know she doesn't have any employees, I would totally put them in random places in the store. It's just so random that there's cardboard cutouts of these two authors. Like, you have to achieve a certain level of fame to get like a cardboard cutout when you're promoting something. And the fact that these two authors have bestseller cardboard cutouts is amazing. And I love it. And I just want them to be in the background of every episode at some point. Or Hallmark can send them to me if they're done with them, because I sure would put them in my office.
Oh my gosh, that would be an amazing giveaway.
They really would. Oh my gosh. Hallmark, do a giveaway.
That'd be the best.
And let me win it.
We'll take it.
Yes.
We will take it. The funny thing about those cutouts is like I think it was Amelia Oller posted a picture, or it might have been Treat Williams. Somebody posted a picture of the cutouts. And I was like, okay, why does she look super flat and shiny? Because it just looked so real to me. And then they posted another picture of both of them next to their like cutouts. And I was like, wait, what? I mean, maybe it's just me and my eyes, but they look so realistic. Super confused.
Yeah, just because for a second there, I thought, what? Why? Who? Oh, it's a cutout. And then I saw Simon's cutout, and it's just so odd. I loved it. I thought it was so ridiculous. The other moment is also in wordplay. It's when Megan and Bree is waiting for her first interview with the producers for her play, and Megan's reading the paper and says, well, I'm looking to see your book, and your book moved up one spot on the list. And Bree's like, what? And they show a very quick flash of the newspaper with the book rankings. And yeah, I paused it. And yes, I took a picture of it and I read the entire, as much as I could of the paper. And these descriptions of these books are amazing. So I'm going to read you very quickly Caroline in Carolina by Simon Atwater and All Our Yesterdays by Bree O'Brien. Okay, so the description for Bree's book is a family torn apart by a heartbreaking choice in their past forces 5 siblings to bond and depend on each other instead of forging and repairing relationships with their separated parents. Story of the meaning of family and about how the choices in the past become all our yesterdays. What? That's all words.
Wow.
It's all one sentence. And at the end, it got very word salady. Sounds like a terrible book. So that
sounds very,
yeah.
I don't know, like soap opera.
Yeah. So that was number 15. Number 14 was Caroline in Carolina by Simon Atwater. And this one is described as, okay, I'm so excited because this is so random. Traveling across the country, picking up the pieces of his broken heart, Jacob becomes captivated with Carolina and the people therein. After solving the mystery of Salty Creek and debunking the alien invasion of Chester Ridge, maybe his search for Caroline can now continue.
What?
Yes. And
wait, that went from Nicholas Sparks to like
Men in Black to back to some random, yes. Debunking the alien invasion of Chester Ridge. Maybe his search for Caroline can now continue. So he's heartbroken. He's searching for Caroline. He pauses to not only solve a mystery, but to debunk an alien invasion. So maybe now he's free enough to go back to looking for Caroline. Amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I did not see that. Like, I obviously didn't care enough to pause and read it, but now I'm like, you know what? Next time I see these like little ads for random books, I'm totally pausing just to see what kind of shenanigans they've written in there.
I paused it and I read them and I died, and I just really needed everybody to know that Caroline and Carolina, this grand sweeping romance from Simon, is actually An alien story. I had no idea.
Wow. No idea.
All right. There you have it, folks. I think that was a good first episode. I mean,
Yeah,
for season 4, episode 1, I think that was. I had fun with it.
I did too. I agree. It was, like I said in the beginning, it was a nice family reunion. And I am looking forward to the rest of the season.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited. Only 5 more episodes to go, though. I'm gonna be. I
Oh,
know. That's. I mean, 5. That's it.
I hope that they're holding out on us and they're waiting to announce like the O'Brien Christmas movie or something. Because they have
Yeah.
not announced, I don't think they've announced all the Christmas movies this year,
No,
right?
you can't have.
So I'm hoping that maybe my thought was they would have the Rome sister movie. So
Yeah.
that's obviously 2 episodes plus the 6. So that's 8, and then usually a season is 10. So I was hoping that maybe they would bookend it with a O'Brien Thanksgiving movie. I was really hoping for an O'Brien Thanksgiving movie,
That would be
although I don't think that's going to happen. So maybe it's going to be Christmas instead, and that would be amazing.
I would
Either
take
way,
that. If they do a Wind Calls the Heart Christmas, they can do a Chesapeake Shores Thanksgiving.
they really could with all those family members.
Yeah.
I mean, they already have Good Witch Halloween. They have One Calls the Heart Christmas. They don't have anything for Thanksgiving. Nobody puts out Thanksgiving movies. Everybody watches the Macy's Day Parade thing. I mean, like, when was the last time a show had a Thanksgiving trope since Friends in the 90s?
Good call.
We haven't had one.
There's a whole.
Yep.
We're filling it, Hallmark. Come on, we got a lot of good ideas in this episode.
That's right.
So, all right. Well, where can people find you online if they so choose to follow you?
You can find me in my live tweeting when I have time at Hallmark My Words on Twitter.
Yes. And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Girl Gone Hallmark. And of course, you can follow the Hallmarkies podcast on Twitter at Hallmarkies Pod, on Instagram at Hallmarkies Podcast. And if you are so inclined, for only $2 a month, you can join us over at patreon.com/Hallmarkies, where you can get Patreon only content exclusive just for you. So, all right, guys, thank you for joining us. We really do appreciate each and every one of you, and the times that you check in with us and tweet us and share your feedback is so great. So, if you have any thoughts about this season, in general, or the first episode, or this episode that we are talking about right now, shoot us an email at feedback@hallmarkiespodcast.com, or, add us on Twitter and let us know. All right. So thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.